This is the Glenn Beck Program.
Hello, America, and welcome to the Glenn Beck Program and The Blaze. I'm Pat Gray. It's time for another conversation with Glenn, and this is the show where you get to steer the conversation. This week, we've dealt with advancements in technology and eugenics that are just around the corner, and the ethical dilemmas that will certainly result from that. Also, we remembered an American soldier and hero who stood up for his fellow Vietnam veteran and paid the ultimate price. Finally, we explored this week what it means to be libertarian. What we explore today is up to you. You ask the questions, Glenn gives the answers, and we're going to get started. We were just talking with the audience a few minutes ago and asking them to just keep the questions in mind.
Nice.
Just be nice.
Be nice.
Try not to be brutal with this poor guy. He's very tender. He cries like a girl at the drop of a hat. You know that. So just try to be careful with him. We're going to start with an email we got from Clark, who asks, Glenn, I'm a little confused. I haven't heard of this until very recently. What is eugenics? Can you explain it in really simple terms? I can. It's just the study of people named Eugene. And
I never looked at it that way.
Yeah.
You may be right.
People, Eugene Robinson.
Or it is the crazy philosophy that really started with kind of Darwin and Nietzsche, that there is no God and we evolve, and you can change with new medical science. You can change some of the fundamental building blocks and make a better person. And one of the things you do without a lot of science is you stop people from breeding. And eugenics is really, go to Kentucky. It's racehorse breeding. That's all it is. How do we make a better racehorse? We take that racehorse and we light a few candles and let them have a little time by themselves. And you got a great winning racehorse. And that's the way they look at people. And it is absolutely documented that the American eugenics movement is what led the Nazis to the gas chambers and to do everything that they did. That was really an American that's a soup that they perfected. And it is now being changed from eugenics to something called transhumanism that people really need to start pay attention to and look up, because even in Al Gore's new book called The Future, just released, he talks about transhumanism, and it is now instead of taking ink and shooting into your eye to make your brown eyes blue, now it is uploading information. It is changing your thought through nanotechnology, injecting things into your body and becoming much better, and allowing you not only to be able to access information in different ways, wirelessly, if you will, but also there is the other downside of it is they have access to you and your private thoughts, and there is no private individual anymore if transhumanism actually takes place. And everything that I see, anybody who is on the leading edge of technology will tell you that it will happen, it won't be stopped, and I'm not sure that they're entirely inaccurate.
I like my explanation better. I wish it was a study of Eugene. That's too bad. A lot of people were obviously fascinated by this week, so we had a bunch of questions on eugenics. Carolyn Tier is here.
Where's Carolyn?
Carolyn?
My gosh. Are you Karen? I was going to say you look like David, but yes, Carolyn.
What was your question for Glenn?
Well, the question that I had is, can you discuss eugenics versus the Agenda 21 and how it all fits together and where you see us going in the future, especially now when you talk about the technology of being able to print human skin and stuff like that?
Yeah, I just saw another piece today, came out of the Dream Labs. They gave me an update today on the printing of meat and food, that it has taken yet another giant leap. I mean, this is going to happen so rapidly. What sounds like science fiction now will be fact in a very short period of time, because we're reaching that point of singularity and quantum leaps, if you will. If you look at transhumanism and things like Agenda 21, it does all nicely fit. It is, if you look at the smart meter, well, wouldn't it be better if we just had a smart meter inside of you? And the way to put that smart meter inside of you is for your protection and for us to be able to, because we all have to take care of each other now, right? Now we're all in universal health care. So we all have to, I mean, it's for the betterment of the entire community. We'll put some nanotechnology into you, which will be able to monitor all of your vitals. We'll be able to tell us what your blood sugar is. We'll be able to tell you everything. So there's a constant monitoring of people. If you have a problem, nanotechnology can be already in your system, and all we have to do is train it to go fix it. This is not the crazy guy at 5 o'clock saying this. This is Ray Kurzweil from Google, the head of artificial intelligence engineering. This is on the horizon. By 2030, this will be pretty commonplace to do this. But as I said to Ray, what happens if you have nanotechnology taking care of me and you decide, you know, I think we're going to turn him off? His response, well, that will never happen. I want a little bit more than it won't happen. It absolutely does happen the minute that you become a useless eater. If a government is in crisis, the minute you start to have thoughts, if they're monitoring every thought, everything else, if you become a danger to the system, it will report and track. And if you look at what they're doing with smart meters and how they can monitor your home and how that can be used for control, and now you say, let's take the smart meter and put it into people, and you know that the planet is more important than humans, you have a toxic nightmare, all about just about to simmer on the stove.
And it was years ago when we first heard about implanting things into the human body, because remember in Tampa they were starting that. We talked about it. It was the digital angel, and they would implant these things into under your skin because they said it would add to our health and safety, and especially for your kids. It would have a GPS in it. And you could find out if they were ever kidnapped. You'd be able to GPS monitor them and find where they were. If you ever had a heart attack, it would call 911 for you. It would send your vital statistics to the paramedics who were on their way. I mean, it sounded
you don't have to
like
wear a tag with your medical history. It automatically downloads. In 1 to 3 years, it will be in widespread use. The RFID, when you go into a store, it'll first be used with just your credit card, and it'll all be convenience. And that's the secret. It's all convenience. Why use cash when you most likely have it now at some stores where you just have a little keychain fob and you just swipe it for convenience sake, and it's very convenient. But within 1 to 3 years, you will now be able to do that in almost all stores. The sweater that I'm wearing will just have a little bit of RFID. Your card will also have that. You won't have somebody at the cash register. You'll take this and your card, you swipe, you walk out. Eventually, and not when I say eventually, in maybe 5 years, all I'll have to do is have the card on my person, and I take the sweater, and as I go through the doors, it automatically charges me. So it's convenient because now all I have to do is just have the shelves, and I just go pick what I want and walk out with it. Convenience. But the next step after that is, well, why have a card? because I can fuse medical care and monetary systems all in one thing, and I can inject it into you, and you're fine. And so now you never have to carry a wallet. You never have to worry about anything, because you merge with machines, and that's the singularity. And the singularity, as crazy as it sounds, please do your homework on it. It is not Star Trek. It is real. And we are on the threshold of the singularity, the merging of man and machine.
We have many more scary questions that Glenn will field. You'll be vomiting before the show's over. Coming right up on the Glenn Beck program. It's our weekly conversation with Glenn, and our audience members are here to ask questions. We've got some from email, and Blaine Brown is here somewhere in the audience today. Hey, Blaine, what's your question?
Well, just in light of recent further infringements of the Second Amendment.
What?
Well, I'm thinking of executive actions that have to do
just
with
for your safety.
With medical histories and provisions of Obamacare that require implementing a nationwide database with medical histories.
No problem.
It seems like Washington is intent upon infringing citizens' rights based on their medical history or health. And I'm just wondering how long until eugenics is part of American law again?
As Stu told me, my executive producer of radio, about, when was Obamacare coming out? 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. And we actually read the bill, and we started looking into the, what is that bell curve cause? The complete live system. Mm-hmm. And the complete live system only kicks in if there is a shortage. And we started to define, what is a shortage? It could be a shortage of kidneys, but it also could be a shortage of money or supplies or doctors. And so it only really kicks in when there's a shortage. And the good news is there's plenty of money and there's plenty of medicine to go around for everybody. There'll never be a shortage. It's just, I love these conspiracy theorists who say that, Sandy Hook never happened, or the government staged it, or, whatever. No, the government is just really, really good at using a crisis. So when there is a crisis, it will happen. And unless people have cemented themselves in values and principles that are timeless, universal, been around since, Abraham and Moses and Noah, we are not going to, you will not believe your neighbors. In Germany, when the crisis happened and people were starving and they didn't have enough food to go around, this was part of the deal with eugenics. Let's get rid of the useless eaters. And neighbors were saying, my son is out fighting for our country, and if my son can't eat, he can't fight, and we lose. Your son is in the hospital, always will be in the hospital. He's not doing anything for us. It is the compassionate thing to do because we saved the country to kill your son. And that's how they made the case. And those kinds of cases will be made again. Look at the two blind guys that were, where was it, Norway? Wow. Norway was one of those cold companies that nobody wants to go, Belgium or something. Of course, I would like to go to Belgium for the waffles. But they had two twins. Remember, assisted suicide, state-assisted suicide is only for people who are terminal and in great amount of pain. These guys were both I think 40. They were deaf. They were going blind. No pain, not terminal, just going blind. They didn't like the idea. They convinced the state pretty easily, please kill us, and they did. It's always done through emergencies and compassion.
And if you think it could not happen here, the Terri Schiavo case is a clear indication that they'll use compassion. It was the compassionate thing to starve her to death and end her life and take her out of her supposed misery. We got an email from Debbie who writes, Glenn, I heard you on the radio say this week that you teach Sunday school to a class of 15-year-olds. Do you ever scare the hell out of those poor kids?
Every Sunday.
Every week.
Here's how I start my Sunday school. Every Sunday, I ask the kids, What are the scriptures for? What are they? Well, they'll give some, that's what God sent down to help us be. Whatever. Here's the answer. It's a calendar. The scriptures are a calendar. And they are sent to us to not only show us how to live, but to be able to recognize what time it is. What time it is in the cycle of man and the cycle of God. And you should look at those every day to see exactly where we are in time. And when you recognize where we are, read ahead, because you'll see how it ends unless you change your behavior. And I end the class every Sunday with a testimony that I know that they are the generation that has been sent at this time, because I believe, and people have been saying this for the beginning of time, and I hope I'm wrong because of what it means, but I believe that they are the generation that will see the return of Christ. And we all have to be much, much better than we are. Because as I ended it this week, I actually scared the hell out of them. I said, have you ever thought of the concept, how is it someone could say that they would pray that the mountains would fall on them to cover them? Because they didn't look at the calendar and they realized at the end, oh my gosh, I didn't do my part. I didn't do what I was supposed to. And there's no hiding from God. And then they go out in the hallway crying. And I say, see you next Sunday, kids.
Don't you all wish you could be in that class? Oh, wow.
They claw their way out.
All right. Is it Joe DeLynn Ewing?
Hi,
Joe,
Jolyn.
you have a question?
How are you?
How do we educate the youth and the young people that have known nothing but technology about the possible pitfalls of technology?
Well, I'll tell you I tell you how I'm teaching my kids. I'm your dad, turn it off. And Pat and I both struggle with this with our kids, because technology is really, really good and seductive. I will tell you, buy books, because technology, history can be changed that fast now. But we try to teach them through example, by not being on it. They think, I suppose they will get to the point where your kids are a little older than mine, so I'm sure they think, oh, Dad's so old-fashioned. Next we're going to be using candles. And we just try to teach them that it's not real. We read books on the iPads, but we stay away from the games and everything else because it's not real. And instead of trying to teach them that, this is bad, we go bowling now once a week. We have a bowling night in our family. And we suck. My daughter, this is the second time we went bowling, and my second oldest daughter, she's in her 20s, she bowled, I believe it was a 36, with the bumpers. We are not good, but we're just taking them out, and we're just trying to have fun as a family and try to do the real things that we did when we were kids.
But also, and I think you've mentioned this on the air before, when you go to the farm, you don't have that stuff available. No. And there's a couple of days of detox, right? But they start to like it after a while.
Yeah, I'll tell you,
that's the thing. They're going to like it.
We have a farm out west, and it has no electricity. And I hate that. And I hate solar panels and wind power because they suck and they don't work. But what I do like is there's no technology in the house. There's no cell service, and there's no iPads. And we had somebody come in and they were like, my iPad doesn't work. And I said, I'm sorry, how did you get into the house with that? And it does. It takes a couple of days for my kids to go, oh, Dad, oh well. And before you know it, it takes them 2 days before they are out literally playing with the rocks and building things and not asking, what is there to do? I'm bored. They're just outside playing. And that's what we used to do. I'm really becoming almost militant anti-soccer and all these little leagues that we put together. Go outside and play. Why am I organizing your game? Go out and play. And it's hard to do with all the technology now.
Okay, more on eugenics, more fun with eugenics.
Really?
More about what happened with our veteran hero, Chris Kyle, and a lot more questions for Glenn coming up on the Glenn Beck program. Welcome back. We're having a conversation with Glenn. We have Kathy and Dave Bacon here on set.
Ooh, bacon.
Should
have told me there was bacon here.
That caught his attention.
Yes, go ahead.
Now, you're either Kathy or Dave.
Yeah, Dave.
Okay.
I'm the Vietnam veteran.
Mm-hmm.
And my question and concern is, are our veterans going to be fearful of registering or seeking counseling with VA for PTSD? And then the fallout will be they're earmarked as some kind of unfit person that shouldn't have a weapon or shouldn't be should be have their guns taken away. Is that valid?
Is it Mark or is it Isaac? Isaac, okay. Isaac, you're a veteran.
Yes.
And we were just talking about this in the break, and that's exactly what he said to me. He said, I
get treated by the VA. I go to counseling sessions. I have some issues, but I don't want to hurt anybody. I just want to be normal, whatever that is. And, I love my weapons. I love the Second Amendment. And, I'm a sane, regular person, or at least I'm trying to be, whatever that is. So I don't want somebody taking, it was good. I was good enough to hold a weapon in Iraq or for the military, but I'm not good enough to have it as a regular citizen after I've paid my debt to society.
There is an old TV show made in the 1970s or early 80s that I actually wanted to remake. And when I brought it to my staff, they said, "Are you out of your mind? Do you know what people will say?" And I said, "Let them." It is a movie, and I'm trying to remember where it happened. It was, I think, in Tennessee, back right after World War II. And this is the secret. This is truly the secret. Right after World War II, these guys came back after fighting Hitler, and they had found that their town, and this is a true story, they found that their town had been taken over by corrupt officials. And all the way from the U.S. Senate to the, I think it was Tennessee Senate, and the governor was in on it, and the town. Well, election day came, and the guys who had returned from war said, "We're not living this way anymore." And one of them said, "I'm running for mayor." Well, the mayor and the sheriff and everybody was corrupt. Well, they took the ballots. And what happened was the mayor's people were standing guard, and they were saying, "You can vote, not you. You can vote, not you." And they were fixing the election. Well, the guy who was running, he happened to go to all the vets, and he said, "You go make sure none of that's happening." Well, somebody pulled a gun, and there was a gunfight, and I believe one of the sheriff's men was killed. And the sheriff immediately came in with the mayor and said, "Election's over, take all the ballot boxes." Well, when that happened, they wouldn't let him inside to help the guy who was dying. And when that happened, the guy who was running for mayor happened to be the guy with the key to the armory. And he looked at all the vets and he said, "Open up the armory, get the guns." And so they opened up the armory, they got all the guns, they chased the corrupt mayor and the corrupt sheriff to the jailhouse, and the guys locked themselves in there, the mayor did, with all the ballot boxes, and then called the governor and said, "We have crazy veterans who have taken over our town and they're trying to steal the election." Well, the governor was in on it. And the governor said, I'll send the National Guard. The guys knew that once the National Guard got there, they lost if they didn't have control of the ballots. One of the guys happened to be kind of a frogman, blew up the side of the jail, took them all out, got the ballots, held them, kept them locked, held the other guys at gunpoint. When the National Guard came, they were in charge, and they said, "All we want is we want a third party to open these locks and to count the ballots." This is exactly what happened. They counted the ballots. The guys who were returned veterans won, and they cleaned the town up. Now, that's a story that should be told from coast to coast, and nobody even knows that story. And that, if I am somebody who wants to take over the United States of America, one thing I have to do is neutralize our vets. And the way to do that is to make you into psychotic people, make you into somebody that is dangerous, should not have a gun, shouldn't be anywhere near a gun, and not trusted. The only institution we still trust in this country is our military. Well, they're doing a fine job to dismantle that now, aren't they?
Sure are. We got this email from Pamela Peltonen, who says, I've been a longtime supporter of your program, Glenn, but I'm confused about the direction you're taking lately.
Me too.
I would like to ask you an honest question about this. Hopefully, you'll find some time to answer on one of your programs. Lately, I have felt/thought. You know it's serious if she's both felt it and thought it.
And slash part
This
of
is serious business.
Yeah, okay.
That you are disrespecting the women in this audience. I cite the radio show that aired on February 4th, 2013, as an example.
Does she have an example or
she
just
does.
a date?
She
Okay.
does.
All right, good.
You referred to President Obama as a chick, and I'm not sure I understand. When you say that Obama is a chick, do you mean to demean women or him?
Well, that's a tough decision.
That's a hard one, isn't it?
That's a hard one.
That's a tough one.
When I say that he is a chick, I mean that he may have not wanted to produce the birth certificate because of not the place of birth, but because of the status of his sex.
The gender.
He may have been a female. I'm not sure. He is the only person that I know, only male, that has ever argued that our children that his child probably wouldn't play football because it's so rough. I mean, look at me. I practically have breasts. I mean, I practically have a set of nice ones.
Let's be honest, it goes beyond practically.
No. And even I have looked at my wife and said, it's football. I don't like football at all. I have no time for it. It's football. Let him alone. Now, if my 8-year-old was, going to get hit by a 280-pound linebacker, well, that's a different story. But let it go. He is he's arguing things and looks at things from my wife's point of view many, many times, and I think he actually believes it. I think he's a woman. I think he's a woman. Forget the Marxist thing.
Or at least a girl. He's a girly man.
He rides a pink bike with the and the basket
dorky
and the
doofus
helmet.
helmet.
What guy? Come on. Has any guy here ever thought, you know what? I'm going to ride my bike, but I got to put a helmet on. And I don't mean like a sports bike, like I'm out, every day riding my bike because I'm a guy who rides my bike. I mean, I'm just going to go. I'm here at Martha's Vineyard, and I'm just going to go for a quick ride on my bicycle, and I put a helmet on. Any guy ever do that? Nope. He's a girl.
All right. Another burning question here, I think, that needs to be answered came from Joanne. She says, Glenn, why do you wear clothes as though you were freezing during your radio shows?
Come to the studio, you'll find out why. How many here are freezing?
14 below zero in here right now.
No, it's cold. Actually, because I think I'm turning into a girl too. I used to like it really, really cold, and now I refuse to admit that I'm turning into a girl, and I won't turn the heat up in here, and it's cold.
Yeah. This from Prasanna. As you explain more about progressives, I notice that there are those parts of me that are progressive. I'm a conservative, and at the same time, there is a fear of economic insecurity. The temptation of a government safety net is very appealing.
I bet it is.
Also, sometimes I'm not accepting of others' views. How do I overcome these inner progressive attributes?
I do it religiously. I know that I was not sent here to do anything but stand on my own 2 feet and to grow spiritually and to get stronger and to provide help and relief for others who can't. I can. One way or another, I can. And almost everybody I know can provide a way for themselves or their family. It may mean you're doing things you don't want to do. cleaning dishes, waiting tables, whatever it is, it may mean that. But I was raised in a hardworking family. That my grandfather, man, I thought my dad was strong on this. My grandfather set me down, and I was very small, and he said, "We do not take charity. We provide charity. And government assistance is charity. And it goes to people who cannot do it, not to us, because we can all work." And so it was ingrained in me pretty deeply. And then on top of it, I believe that it's my moral responsibility not to be enslaved by someone else.
Yeah, and I think conservatives believe in a safety net, but we just mostly believe the safety net obviously starts with us providing for ourselves, and then it goes to family, and then it goes to friends, and then it goes to church, and the last resort should be government.
The smallest safety net we should have is the federal government.
Yeah.
That's the smallest one, because that's the one of absolute last resort. If you don't have a family and you have no friends and you are an atheist, I would suggest first that you would join a church. Or you get your atheist friends to help each other out. And if there's no atheist or Christian friends that can help you out, and you have no family, no friends that can help you out, the last place you go is to the government. That's the last stop, not the first stop.
This comes from Jolene. She says, "Glenn, I love you, but why do you have a human skull on your desk? And why did you choose fire, flame in your logo? These represent death, not life."
Okay, that's the first time. Can you get that for me? If you look over here on this is the logo of 1791. I mean, just by looking at it, can anybody tell me what that represents? Anybody? Tyranny, death to tyranny. That's what the crown is. That's why the crown is over it. And this is actually the motto of the Commonwealth of Virginia, which is basically death to dictators or death to tyrants. And it's what our country was founded on. We do not have tyrants. So it is not a symbol of death. It's a symbol of death to tyranny, which I used to think we all used to be for. The reason why we have the symbol of fire for the blaze is it comes from the Old Testament. When I was getting ready for our big event in Washington, D.C. about 3 years ago, 2 days or a day after we did that event is the day we launched the blaze. And so in that year, I remember saying on the stage, I had spent the year with Moses and pick up your staff. And one of the things that I was fascinated by was the use of fire. It is destroying power, but it is also a purifying power. And the Lord protects and guides with pillars of fire and the burning bush. And it consumes those things that are impure. But if it is pure, after it's been refined, it burns. And if you're pure, if the truth is pure, there's nothing to burn. It is a protection. And so that's what the blaze is the refiner's fire.
Plus, he's always been a pyromaniac. But
Shh, don't say that.
all right, we've got a big finale coming up on our Conversations with Glenn. Next
we have
on The Blaze.
fireworks?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Who knew?
Welcome back to Conversations with Glenn. We have time for one more quick question here. This comes from Stephanie, who says, "Glenn, on your next birthday, how old will you be?" Perhaps we can answer that.
Tonight on the
this.
Glenn Beck program, the Blaze staff gathers to wish Glenn a happy 49th birthday. 49? These guys always get the copy. There's no way he's only 49. I'm calling my agent.
Happy birthday, Glenn! Happy birthday, Glenn! Happy birthday, Glenn!
Glenn, I'm sorry, I've got some bad news. White House on the phone, and your request to have your birthday established as a national holiday, not gonna do it. What's that? They're telling me, though, that there may be an executive order from the president to make it a day that will live in infamy. I don't know exactly what that means. Happy birthday.
I'd like to wish a happy birthday to a man smart enough to move to Texas, Glenn Beck. Happy birthday, brother. God bless you.
This just in, radio personality, media mogul, and Washington State native Glenn Beck will be celebrating his birthday February 10th. Will, what do we know?
Not much more than what you've just given us, Amy. Dateline Dallas, one Glenolyn Jessica Beck had a birthday or is having a birthday. From there, we're just kind of guessing. I'm 65?
I don't know, in the dark?
65?
72? Is he retiring?
I'm going 35, and I'm saying that love of freedom is apparently such a great antioxidant. It's even better than Palm Wonder juice.
Whatever old he is, looks good for that age. That's all I know.
The bearing of a youthful man.
I got one word for you, see pocket watch.
All right.
Happy
birthday, Glenn Beck. We'll get to the bottom of that mystery next on Real News.
Someone told me that Glenn Beck is the strongest messenger in the media today. Just think, that's an amazing statement, and I would agree. Happy birthday.
Happy 60th birthday, Glenn. It's only 49? Glenn, I want to wish you a very happy birthday.
Glenn, it's your birthday?
No, Hannah, the other Glenn.
And what other Glenn?
Your dad.
All right, happy birthday to Glenn Beck. He paid me money to say this. He says he's 49. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? There ain't enough Botox in the world, Beck. You got to be 62 or 3, all right? I mean, when I was 5 years old, you were in the grave behind me, right? I mean, come on, all right? But Glenn Beck, celebrating another birthday, wants everybody to know about it. Don't send him any gifts because he's very wealthy and doesn't deserve anything. Happy birthday, Beck.
Hope you have a happy birthday and it's filled with lots and lots of cake.
This is your day to sit back and relax. Happy birthday. Enjoy it.
Hi, Glenn. It's Monica Crowley wishing you a very happy birthday. When you left New York, we lost one of our greatest blondes. Come back. We miss you.
Let's get Julie, Glenn's assistant. She's the busiest person in the office. Hey, Julie.
What? What do you want?
I was wondering if we could tape a happy birthday message for Glenn real quick.
Who's Glenn?
Your boss.
Yeah. Hi, Glenn. It's Julie here, wishing you a happy birthday. Love you. Happy 59th.
Happy birthday, Glenn!
So it's your birthday again, and I couldn't figure out what to get you. I was gonna get you a cake, but then Julie said you're not eating sugar or anything that tastes good anymore, so that was out of it. But then I thought maybe a tasteful sweater, but then I started looking at what you're wearing lately, and I figured I have absolutely no idea where to shop for what you wear anymore because none of it makes sense. So instead, I'm just gonna tell you happy birthday, and we love you despite all your craziness. You're definitely the best boss to work for. Have a very happy birthday and many more.
Hey Glenn, happy birthday. We miss you in New York. Come back soon.
He's how old? 49? 49 isn't old. 50 is though. And keep at it.
A lot of the ungrateful people around here are probably using this time to talk about how old you are or how your health problems keep getting worse, or maybe even making some comments about cake as though, they're implying that you're gaining weight as you get older. So I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to simply say happy birthday, buddy.
Happy birthday! Good evening, great and glorious comrades of the People's Republic of Beckistan. I share with you the glorious news of the anniversary of the birth of our dear leader, Supreme Commander of the Righteous and Invincible, strong as steel. We share with you stories of glory.
I don't want to.
Do it.
I don't. When dear leader was born, the sun shone for 48 straight hours. All the birds of America lit on the hospital roof and sang in unison.
Yes, this happened. These stories ring true.
With these eyes, I saw dear leader fight a rainbow and win.
His strength is unknowable. With a single punch, he redirected a mighty river so that it flowed beautifully behind his summer palace.
When dear leader found me, I was a lost and aimless soul. He gave me American-made shoes and in return asked nothing, but that I write for his network and never work again.
A selfless act that no doubt indicates the pricelessness of this eternal treasure.
Can we wrap this up? We have stuff to do for our actual show. It's just a stupid birthday video for Glenn.
An enemy of the state does not deserve to enjoy the celebrations of the invincible and steel-strong organization.
I'm sorry. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, dear leader. I will sing songs of praise as I make you a floral basket.
If there's an enemy grenade, I will happily fling myself upon it. Happy birthday!
With Mike dead, I have like quadruple the work to do. But your radiant birthday glory empowers me to succeed.
February 10 shall be remembered as the glorious day of birth of dear leader. Also, Jim Varney died.
Happy birthday, Glenn.
We actually found a letter from George Washington to Martha. And I just wanted to give you a preview of that. Tara, do you have that?
Joe, I'm not sure I have the signature quite right.
I don't think George Washington signed his name with hearts and a smiley face, but Glenn, we'll get back to you on that gift.
It's been a pleasure and an honor to be working with you, and I hope you have a happy birthday. Every gift you get, you deserve. In a good way. Just don't lose your air blowing out all those candles. Happy birthday, man.
Glenn, this is Jim DeMint. You have been an inspiration to me, a blessing to our country. You're a great American, and I am honored to wish you a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Glenn Beck. Coming to you from high tax California, rather than no income tax Texas. Have a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Glenn.
Hey, if we're all here, who's running the camera?
Happy birthday! All of us from your New York team are here, ready to celebrate. AKA me.
And me.
Don't care if it's Glenn's birthday! How about the fact that my birthday is the day before? Does anyone ask?
No.
If he's doing any
How
birthday
about my
presents for
birthday where I didn't even get so much as a hey Pat?
No one cared about your birthday. No one.
All right.
How old is Glenn this
Happy
year?
birthday or something.
Happy birthday, Grandpa.
Hi, Dad. Happy birthday.
We're so happy to be here working with you in Texas. We love you.
Let me tell you something.
Isn't that precious? It's beautiful.
That explains the half-assed programming on this network this week. That's what everybody's been working on. You're all fired. Thank you. That was that's amazing.
Oh my gosh, we didn't try to really get all the candles on that cake, did we?
It's
There's like
actually on fire.
900 candles on that thing.
Gosh, my sister is
And here comes your
here.
sister.
Oh my gosh.
Your lovely wife.
Look at this.
Your daughter.
And the cake is actually on fire.
It literally is on fire.
Sorry, honey. Oh, I love
You are now the blaze.
Wow.
The blaze. You have to see this. It's caramelizing the sugar. It's so hot.
I mean, if you blow that out. All right. All right, we'll be right back on the Glenn Beck program.
Well, as Pat is cutting the cake and the ice cream, all I can think of is what all my teachers said growing up in school. Well, I hope you brought enough for the whole class.
Let's see. No. No.
We'll see you next week from Dallas. Good night, America.